Welcome back to another episode of Money Codes. My name is Joel, here to give you your daily money code fix. And today we're going to be talking about something incredibly important. We're going to be going over Fico 10 and Fico 10T. This latest update will likely not only change your credit score, but it's going to change how the lending industry is going to look at your profile and how they're going to determine who they give loans to and who they don't. So stay tuned, and I'm going to give you an in-depth breakdown on what's to come. Alrighty. So I'm back in here. You can see that I'm on CNN Business, and I have a few tabs open right now because I want to show a lot of information, and I'm going to do it very quickly. But at the end of this video, you're going to know for sure what Fico10T is and what you need to be doing to strategically place yourself in a position so that all of these changes that they're trying to do, and they're going to continue to do more in the future. I'm going to show you that in a second. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what you need to do and how you need to position yourself so that you can be one step ahead of what Fico and these lenders are trying to do with these updates. And now I'm specifically talking about Fico 10 and Fico 10T. So once again, here I am on CNN Business, and the subject is changes are coming to your credit score. All right, so a lot of articles were released over the last 12 months talking about this Fico 10 and 10T. Let's see what they're talking about. About 80 million people will see a shift of 20 points or more, according to a statement from Dave Schellenberger, VP of Product Management at Fico. Of those, about half will see scores go up, while the other half will see their scores drop. So that is 80 million people. So half of that, 40 million people are going to potentially see their credit scores drop. And if you're ignorant as far as what's like the changes are, you're going to see your credit score drop and you're not even going to know like what happened. You're just going to see your scores go lower. Some of the people that are doing the right things, whether they're conscious of it or not, they're going to see their credit scores go up. So we want to be in the first half of the people that are getting their scores to increase with this change. Let's read a little bit more. Those who have a high amount of credit card debt relative to their overall credit or who have recently missed payments could see a more significant drop. So that 20 points is not even including this. So depending on what you're doing, you can really tank your score. If you're making mistakes ignorantly and you don't know what you're doing, you can see a 20-point decrease. And if you are maxing out your utilization, if you have over 30% utilization, or God forbid you're close to maxing out your credit cards, you're going to see your score drop even further. So now let's look at the second page here. This is the Fico score that lenders use. So I'm going to show you here. Notice that there's Fico 8, there's Fico 2, Fico 5, Fico 4, Fico 3. So first and foremost, Fico is Fair Isaac Corporation. So Fico's initial goal was to provide the lenders information. And what kind of information were they trying to give? They were giving the lenders information on whether or not, if you were trying to apply for a credit card, a loan, a mortgage, these lenders at some point, and let me actually go here so you can see it. And I'm going to read you the main points that I think are important. But let's start here. 1989. Fico score is invented, providing a universal and impartial tool for evaluating consumer credit risk. So 1989, they were invented. Fico, the Fico score that everyone is clamoring over to try to get their scores up. They were created so that lenders could have some sort of resource where they can look at making a determination of whether or not they're going to give somebody a loan. Because prior to the 1980s, they really didn't have a lot of information. They will give loans to people, they will default, They would be fraudulent, they would run away, and there wasn't really a universal way where people could pay attention to, specifically lenders, who are the good borrowers and who are the bad borrowers, so to speak. That's 1989. 1993, FICO introduces specialized FICO scores for auto, credit card, and mortgage and small business lending. So as you can see, every few years, if you notice, every few years, FICO, they're updating themselves. Just like with an iPhone, like I have my iPhone here. Every year, iPhone comes out with iPhone 5, iPhone 7, iPhone 10, right? And every year, iPhone updates the iOS. They get a little bit better. They add new features. They add like the emojis and all the all the stuff that they do every year to try to improve on it. Well, FICO does the same thing. So in 1993, what they did was they made their specialized scores the FICO scoring model 2, 4, and 5, and that was specifically for, like as you can see here, the auto, credit, and the mortgage industry. And that was a little bit better than the scoring model that they had before. Fast forward to 2001, FICO launches myfico.com, giving consumer access to their FICO score. So if you notice, 1989 they created it, but it took until 2001 before they started even sharing with people what their FICO scores was. So it was over a decade. And over a decade before 2001, all this information was kept between FICO and kept between the lenders. They weren't even trying to give consumers the information. This was over a decade later. 2009, FICO 8 is introduced, and it's the 8th generation of FICO, and it's the most widely used credit score today. And that is true. If you go to myfico.com right now and you get your score, or if you get a lot of places that actually give you the real FICO score, not the Vantage score, which is bootleg anyway. The real FICO score, 9 times out of 10, you're seeing the FICO 8. 2014, FICO 9 comes out and is launched, easing the impact of medical debt on FICO scoring and expanding consumer access to credit. So very quickly, the update from FICO 8 to FICO 9, they were a bit more lenient for people who had medical debt. So in the 2014 update, one of the major things that we saw was that if you had a medical debt, you will notice that the credit impact wouldn't be as bad as it was in previous iterations. So that was a little bit better if you were somebody that racked up some medical debts. It wouldn't hit you as hard as it was before. So you can see over time in this timeline, they're improving a little bit. They're being more refined, because the whole goal of this, the whole goal, and why I'm showing you this, and why we're going from 1989 to 2020 and 2021 with this FICO 10 model, is they're doing this so that they can be more predictive in giving lenders the ability to know who's going to default and who's going to fraud them and who's not. Every version that you see on the screen, they got a little bit better. They're looking at it just a little bit more. They're looking at trending data, and that's the key word for this video for Fico10T. They're looking at trending data, and what they're saying is with this Fico10T that they're going to reduce the default for lenders and consumers that go to lenders by 10%. And the lending industry is a billion-dollar industry. So basically, they're going to be able to save 10% that would normally go to fraud, default. By updating to this 10T models, lenders are going to be a lot happier because they're going to be saving money. This whole FICO 10T is going to be providing lenders the ability to see the full picture of when a borrower comes to them, and they're going to know better than any other time in history whether they should give this loan to this borrower or not. And that's why 10T is so important. So now let me jump out of here. Now let's jump to NerdWallet, and I'll just read you this here. The score that got consumer attention is the FICO 10T. T stands for trended data. It's a departure from previous versions because it looks back at up to 30 months of past credit data to predict consumer behavior. 30 months. If you think of traditional FICO as a snapshot, the 10T would be more like a short video. FICO competitors, Vantage Score, likewise introduced a score using trended data, version 4.0 in 2017. All right, so what's the real deal on this? Look back to 30 months. That's what you need to pay attention to. So the reason why I'm making this video is for anyone that is on the fence, for anyone that is saying, well, I'm not going to look at my credit score. Oh, my credit score is bad. I don't even look at my credit score. I'm not even going to pull my credit report. I'll deal with that next year when I go and buy my car. You're going to end up playing yourself if you do that. These lenders, and let me say this before I even go further. Just because FICO 10 and FICO 10T is on the scene right now does not mean that all lenders are going to jump into this scoring model like immediately. Let me go back to this other video or this other timeline. All right, so in 1993, remember I said the auto, credit card, and mortgage, that FICO score or that scoring model was created. 10 years later, lenders are still using, some of them are still using this model here. Even though FICO 8 is out, even though FICO 9 is out, there are some lenders still using this old scoring model, right? Just like, people, just because the iPhone 10 is out, some people are still using the iPhone from 5 years ago, 6 years ago. If it works, right? And a lot of these lenders, they're not going to upgrade every time a new scoring model comes out because it's expensive. You get what I'm saying? They're not going to go into their banks, every single one of their hundreds and thousands of banks and their networks, and update it from 8 to 9 to 10 to 10T. And in a couple of years, there's going to be an 11 version. So once they adopt a model, a scoring model, they normally hold on to it for a good while, and then they make their jump. Okay, another analogy would be like if you go to a lot of corporate environments, they use a lot of older Windows. Like I know Windows XP was used for like years, like decades. Not because it was the best, but it worked for them and it was cost effective. However, there will be a point. There will be a point in time where lenders will go ahead and they will use a scoring model that's similar to 10 or 10T. They might jump to the 11 version. But the whole point is they're now going to look at up to 30 months. So this goes for people that think, oh, I can just throw an authorized user on my account and I'm cool. It's not going to make a lot of sense. It's not going to make a lot of sense if you're coming in and someone is looking at your credit profile and they see January, February, March, April, May, you had a whole bunch of collections, you had a whole bunch of charge-offs, and then in August you decide to buy a couple of AUs and clean up your credit. And now the end of the year, your credit is looking a lot better. Well, you're not going to be able to trick them like that anymore. They're going to be paying attention. They're going to be able to go back. They're going to be able to see what your credit profile looked like before you bought the AUs, before you did the disputes, before you started doing the cleanup stuff, right? So I'm saying this not to scare you, but I'm letting you know that just because you're wanting to be ignorant or you're choosing not to be proactive about your credit report and your credit profile, these lenders, they're not taking their foot off the pedal. Let me go back here just so you can see. These lenders and FICO, they're on it. Every couple of years, they're on it. They're going to make sure that their scoring software is so detailed that they know your utilization. So meaning, if you are somebody that maxes out their credit cards or you have a utilization over 30% and it looks like you're living off your credit cards, that's one of the major factors they're going to pay attention to, and that's going to kill your score. So from today, from the time you see this video, I want you to get your utilization down. Get that thing under 30%. Get it under 10% if you can. Get it under 10% and keep it under 10%. You don't have to zero it out, but keep your utilization under 10%. What's another thing? So late fees. Late fees are going to impact you even more. So it's a double-edged sword. If you pay your credit card payments on time every single month, you're going to get a boost. You know what I'm saying? They're going to see what you've been paying, and they're going to look back in time, and they're going to say, oh, well, you've been doing a good job. This person not only paid on time this month and last month. Well, damn, last month or last year, excuse me, last year, they were paying on time too. Oh man, 2 years before today, they were still paying on time. This person, you know what? I'm going to give this person an increase in a credit score. Or I'll give this person an increase in a credit line that they're requesting. Or I'll give this person the best interest rates. Why? Because they're going to be able to see, not just now, not just in the present, just today only. They're going to be able to go back in time and see exactly what you've been doing with your lates, with your utilization, with your collections, all of that. All of that will be part of the picture. So the days of being able to trick a lender and doing some disputes, getting a couple of AUs on your account, and then sliding into a lender and thinking everything's going to be sweet, those days are long gone, right? So we got to be proactive. The same way FICO, if these lenders are proactive, we need to be proactive along with them. That way, and let me go back here in closing, that is why they said here about 80 million people will see a shift of 20 or more, and then others will see their score go down 20 or more. Why are the people that are going to get the 20 points or more? Those are the people that are not only paying on time right now, but they've been paying on time. They've been paying on time for years. Not only have they kept their utilization down, they've kept their utilization down for years. So all in all, this is not spooky. There's no like craziness to it. It's very clear what they're paying attention to. It's very clear what they're paying attention to, and I need for you to take accountability and take control of your credit profile and figure out what you need to do to get in line. Remember, I always say, think like a lender. These lenders are now telling you what it is that they're paying attention to. And in closing, this is the last thing I'll say. For the people that always say, like, oh, the credit score is everything. The credit score is everything. This is basically like another cut to those that say the 3-digit score is all you need to worry about. It's not. If your 3-digit score, if you had a 740 score, if that's all that mattered to lenders, they wouldn't be looking at anything trending. They wouldn't care. The underwriting process wouldn't take days or weeks. If the only thing that mattered to lenders was just your credit score, why would they need an underwriter? Why would they need Fico10T? This right here is telling you your credit score is literally just a sliver. It is a little sliver in the pie of what they're paying attention to. They are paying attention to your tendencies. They are paying attention to what you do on a month-to-month basis. An AU, an authorized user, is not tricking anybody. All right. This is about trending. So they are saying out of their own mouth, they're going to be able to go back. They're going to be able to go back 30 months, potentially 30 months, to see what you've been doing with your credit score and your payments. So the moral of the story here is start right now. I don't care if your credit score is 300 something and you're like ashamed or embarrassed. Who cares? You can start today to get your credit on point. You can start today to fixing your credit and making it stronger so that in a year, 2 years, 3 years, whoever knows how long it's going to take for the majority of lenders to pick up on this. By the time they do and they look at your credit report, they're going to see the positive trend of good payment history, good utilization, no derogatories or no lates. Like start today because this is where the future is going. Whether you pay attention to it or not, this is where it's going. So, all right, so that is the end of my rants. I hope it was informative. So that is the end of the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.